Welcome, Olli, to Metallarium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about your new project, Octoploid, this new first album, and obviously more things related to the metal world in general. So we start by asking, so when did you decide to start another project like this, like Octoploid?
Well, I've been thinking about it pretty many years already, like a couple decades, actually. It's been on my mind that I have an album in me, like on my own. And I thought at first that, okay, I will do a solo album, but it ended up to be like it's a solo band, more likely. And we have like core members in the band who are Mikko Pietinen, the drummer, and Peter Salonen, guitar player, and Kim Rantala, keyboard player. This is the situation currently. But anyway, couple years back when I noticed that, okay, now I have a 10 pretty similar songs together, which could fit on one album I could do. I thought like, okay, now it's now or never. Like if I'm not going to do it now, I'm not never going to do it. So, and it was a little bit after pandemic, so I had plenty of time to wonder about what should I do, and luckily Mikko Pietinen was available and he was willing to do it, and he has a studio as well. So we started to track down the basic tracks where we didn't actually know that if they were demo tracks still or how is it going to be, because we didn't have any clue about record label or so forth, and we didn't even know that who's going to sing on the album or play keyboards or whatsoever. And it started to build there. We just did the drums and bass together, and found guitar player Peter, who ended up tracking the guitars. And we probably finished, say, 4 or 5 songs when I started to approach the record labels. And we have had probably a couple contenders, and Raining Phoenix ended up to be the label for us, and it's a perfect match, I think.
Okay. Thank you very much for these answers, so Olli. And well, this Beyond the Aeons has a little common thing about this new album, because you have a lot guests here, because Miko Kotakami has as a future, Tommy obviously from Amorphis, Janitor, a lot of people is here on this new album. And so why did you decide to bring a lot of future people in this new album?
Right, because it's since it's pretty hard to find a permanent vocalist in Finland, even though there are lots of metal bands and metal vocalists here, but it's kind of hard to find some person who's always available and is willing to commit to the band. So okay, I had to abandon that idea, and then I started to wonder, like, okay, maybe if I just use the vocalists who I've been working with throughout my career, and that's how it started. I started to ask the guys that would they participate on my album, and everybody luckily agreed to do it. And also there is one guy, Pete, Pete is from Rapture, and nowadays from Feastem. I've been thinking like many years that I'd like to work with him, and finally it was a right kind of a project where I could ask him to join, and therefore he sang a couple songs on the album. I like his growling vocals; it's really brutal and raw, and he can pull out the clean vocals as well. So he's a perfect match. But basically, I was like planning to have mostly crawling vocals on the album, and I pretty much succeeded to avoid clean vocals, I think.
Okay, okay, okay. And what do you decide to create another band when you have already another band like Barren Earth, a great band by the way? With Barren Earth you have more than 3 albums. So what is it to create another band? Also,
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I'm not quite sure if the other Barren Earth guys are ready to do another album together. So that's one reason. And also another reason is that in Barren Earth, I kind of had to do compromises on my own music, and I just didn't want to do it this time. I wanted to be in charge and wanted to produce the album and the songs, and wanted to have the ultimate veto when it comes to the songs. So that wouldn't have been possible with Barren Earth, because for starters, Jon was doing vocal, like lyrics and the vocal arrangements, and this time I wanted to do them by myself. And same came with any other instrument. I just wanted to, I just demoed all the songs and send the tracks to the guys for them to learn. And yeah, that's how it went. And those are the two reasons. Probably just Barren Earth, it's not time for another album, because we are not capable of touring and so forth. And other thing was also this, that I wanted to be in charge and the boss of my own band.
okay, okay, okay. Interesting to know. And one detail that I've been showing a lot these last 4 years is that also Esa and Tommy release albums, and also Tommy Judson also released a new album. All people from Amorphis are releasing albums independently for the Amorphis band. So what do you think this? What do you think? So do you think that in sometimes the members are trying to catch another styles because perhaps you don't want to affect the sound of Amorphis?
Well, as I said, in a band, it's always you have to make compromises. So I think people have urge to work on their own and be their own masters when it comes to their music, and it's like good fun to be in a band and write music together. But still, it's at this age, it's like there's also a need to do something purely on your own and be totally like authentic in your own way. So probably that's why we are doing those albums, and I think it's a great thing, because it like releases lots of pressure from yourself, and it gives freedom to work on Amorphis in a like better way. In that, if you know what I mean.
Okay, okay. I want talking about the future of this Neil. What kind of plans do you have with your busiest schedule as a Morphis member? Because Amorphis has a lot of gigs during the whole year, so that's normal. You have a lot of busy. So how will you promote this album with perhaps gigs or perhaps just playthroughs? Who knows?
Well, it's pretty obvious that we cannot tour at this stage, because Amorphis is so busy. We are having a like really busy festival year this year, and we will tour North America later on in the fall, and then we start to record a new album. But right now it seems like next year there is lots of time for each Amorphis members. So probably there could be time to play live with Octoploid as well. At least I hope so. It's impossible to say currently, because the album is not out and we don't know what's the response, and will there be demand for live shows, and that will people want to see us live, and are promoters interested, and can we find an agency those are all open questions, but I think I'll be wiser, say 1 month after the release of the album, and then I can tell you like what's going to happen with Octoploid next year.
Okay, thank you very much for these answers. So talking about other kind of aspects, I'm checking this Disney album. Well, especially the song that you bring with your song with Tommy, the vocals from Amorphis singing this new album has a 80s sound. And usually when I saw presentations with you, I saw you and Amorphis last month in Peru. I remember your presentation here. It's a great one, by the way. So it was a great one. So why do you decide to bring this 80s vibe in this song with Tommy's in the voices?
Yeah, it's I'd say rather 70s stuff, like when it comes to psychedelia and the psychedelic part. And well, probably some 80s as well, but it's kind of retro death metal. I call it classic death prog myself. But yeah, it's just a combination of musical styles that I listen to. First of all, I like death metal very much. I like growling vocals. I like fast riffs and a brutal sound. Also, I like progressive rock from 70s. I like Pink Floyd and King Crimson and bands like that. And there are lots of great bands came from Finland as well, like Wigwam and Pier Pauke. And yeah, and those psychedelic elements probably comes from the 90s alternative rock bands like Monster Magnet and Kingston Wall. So it's kind of natural thing to mix those elements together for me and not to stick in one genre because well, I just kind of find it boring to just play death metal or just to play progressive rock or whatever, or just to play classic rock. You know, it's way more interesting for me, and as a listener as well, I enjoy more of those kind of crossover records and hybrids of different genres. So why not to do it myself then, and because and still I'm capable of doing those kind of songs. So yeah, it's a kind of like easy listening death metal. It's death metal for the whole family, and it's just like easy to grab to, and still it's possible to listen to it several times. So yeah, that's what I wanted to do, and I don't know if I succeeded, but hope so.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, talking about other kind of sounds, we'll talk about kind of things. So, what do you think about now the extra population that the world has with new productions, with a lot of things, this kind of stuff? Because as you can see, each week or each weekend, we have a lot of productions.
Yeah, that's true. It's I probably am not following the scene that much nowadays. There are great new bands like Convocation from Finland and Messa from Italy and so forth. I kind of trying to find the needle from the haystack myself, and it's pretty easy for me to say from the start, just from the first song, that if I like the band or not, and therefore it's easy if I just listen to a sample, and if I dig it, I keep on listening, but if not, I just skip the band. But yeah, I have to say that I'm kind of purist when it comes to music. I don't ever listen to power metal, for example, or like modern R&B, or I very rarely to listen to metalcore bands or whatever. Uh, 90s death metal is my thing, and yeah, stoner rock and progressive stuff in general, and also some folk music and folk metal like Murgur, for example. So that's the stuff I listen to, and that kind of music I'm always searching for. And luckily, every now and then I find a new band, and then I save it to my Spotify albums.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Well, other aspect as you can see now in the world is that we are living in a world that the metal is well more accepted with a lot of trends that we have on the social media. Because as you remember, in the 80s and 90s, the metal has bring or has had a lot of impact themes like political, religion, social, etc., etc. But now, thanks to the social media, we have this aspect differently because you can see how to paint a corpse paint as a black metal in YouTube. How do you do are you a t-shirt from Cannibal Corpse in etc. in Instagram? I know, and a lot of pages. But in this case, I ask a lot of people about this, and some people thinks that the loose or essence, the essence to fight against something, to fight against something, lose
Yeah,
lose in the perfection because the metal has no impact now. Will more accepted with a lot of things. So with this kind of us, what is your opinion about? Some people think that the metal lose this kind of essence to fight against something, to bring another kind of things, or the shocking impacts that it has in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And now the metal, you can see people wearing a Cannibal Corpse t-shirt on the street. That's normally now. That's metalhead. You are Satanism, yeah, now the people create a church, a Satanism church. So what do you think about this aspect?
well, yeah, I've thought about it actually quite a bit, and it's like a little bit dangerous thing that metal music is turning into. Uh, yeah, it's like how would I put it? For example, back in the days, thrash metal bands sang about social issues, of course, yeah, and for example, Creator, Metallica, they sang about really serious issues, but nowadays it seems like that kind of lyrics are pretty much gone, at least from the mainstream. And of course, it has something to do with these digital platforms, which doesn't allow bands to take a stand, and it is kind of boring situation. And well, myself, I've tried to um, like take up with some difficult issues as well, like Human and Moral is kind of misanthropic song. If you read the lyrics, it's about how human being is destroying the world and living creatures. And Monotony is also animal rights song. And I would like to come up with more of that kind of lyrics because yeah, it does the trick for me, you know, and I think also it matters to sing about such issues. And also when it comes to criticism against religion, for example, it's I think black metal bands did it pretty well back in the days, and it still happens, I guess.
Mm.
And it's important as well for me because I'm totally into like a against religion and pro atheism or whatever, and it's like a shame that those kind of cults like Christianity or Islamic religion are in charge of this society. So it's good to bring up those issues from time to time, even though they're suffered probably a little bit inflation during the years, especially with black metal music. So, but yeah, I think it still happens, and at least I try to do something about it.
Okay, okay. Well, we are very close in this interview, Ollie, and for these aspects. So for you, the sound of Octoploid has, well, when I hear completely this album, has progressive, the amorphous elements because you are one of the amorphous composers, etc. That's normal. That's your way to compose. But for you, what is the biggest difference that Octoploid has compared with the previous question that I told you? With a lot of releases, what is the biggest difference that this Octoploid has compared with a lot of kind of music that exists now, especially we are living in a world progressive, technical, experimental, I don't know, a lot of mixtures happen now in the metal.
Yeah. Well, if I talk about metal albums, I think Beyond the Eons is not as produced and not as polished as many metal albums today. And of course, at least I've tried to combine different kind of music, like different genres together. And I don't know if that kind of crossover music exists that much any longer. It was more common during the 90s. I would say that this album could have been released during the 90s, but it's more rare these days because yeah, I don't know, bands are trying to be like each other. Maybe the labels and platforms are demanding certain kind of music. I don't know what's the situation, or maybe bands are just willing to and wanting to break up, but that's not how you make art. You just make art by making music only to yourself and being true to yourself. And I don't know. There are great bands nowadays too, but yeah, hard to say. Yeah, but I guess I mentioned the differences from the other metal bands.
Okay. Well, Ollie, the sad times arrive at this interview. I hope you enjoyed this one like me. I know I'm very understand a lot of things about this Octoploid because it was really interesting album, very different from your previous works, especially from Amorphis and Barren Earth. So perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans because you came from a great band like Amorphis, other band like Barren Earth, and this new album is a great one also. Congratulations on it. So perhaps you want to add something for your Latin American fans and obviously Metallica followers.
Well, since we were in Latin America recently, it was a great trip and we enjoyed it. It was like there were really nice people and nice countries, beautiful places, and looking forward to come there again someday. Maybe not the next year, but hope that after that at least. And give Beyond the Eons a chance. Just take a listen to it, and I would request to listen like 3 or 4 songs before judging it, because there's pretty much diversity in the music. So you will see what it's like only by listening to it more. So yeah, take a listen to it and hope you like it.